Hi guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make homemade crescent rolls. Now this is like the crescent dough that you can buy in your regular grocery store, and you can make crescent rolls or you can use it in any recipe that calls for crescent roll dough, if that makes any sense. You can use it in any of those recipes. It's fantastic. They're easy, they're delicious. They use just a handful of ingredients, and of course, anything homemade is just like 10 times better because one, you can control the quality of ingredients, but two, because if you're anything like me and you just love to make just about everything homemade when the time permits, then you'll love this recipe, and it'll be great on your holiday table if you do tend to serve them at your holiday table, which I know a lot of people do. You need all-purpose flour, granulated sugar, salt, eggs and egg yolks. You'll need some active dry yeast and a little bit of sugar, cold unsalted butter, vegetable shortening, and of course you're going to need some warm water. You are going to need a little bit more butter in a bit, but not at this stage. Let's get started on getting our yeast activated. You want to make sure that your water is at the right temperature. You want it right around 110 to 115 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's not there, your yeast will not activate. If the yeast doesn't activate, your dough won't rise. If your dough won't rise, then you blame me and I can't do anything about it because I can't come to you and help you. So make sure that your yeast is not expired and that your water is at the right temperature. Okay, I'm just going to set that aside. Once it gets all foamy, then you know it's ready. In the meantime, all I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of my dry ingredients into the bowl of my standing mixer. I'm going to put on my dough attachment, and then I'm going to grease this bowl because this is what's going to be the bowl that my dough is going to rise in. So I'm going to do that, and then once the yeast is ready, I'll show you the next step. All right, smells really yeasty. I'm going to add that right into my dry ingredients, right along with my egg and my yolks. And now all I'm going to do is on medium speed knead this for about 2 minutes. So I'm just going to lift that up, knead it for 2 minutes. All right, that's been kneading for 2 minutes. I'm going to add my cold vegetable shortening and my butter, and I'm going to let this knead for another 2 minutes, like right under 2 minutes, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Perfect. It looks really strange at this point, but don't panic because it works out perfectly in the end. Just make sure, you can see that a lot of the butter has kind of stayed in its little shape there, which is what you want. And I just kind of fold it over like so and just put that right into the oiled bowl like that. Try and get it all out. Now what you need to do, it's nice and sticky at this point and buttery, which you know crescent rolls are very, very buttery, which is what makes them so, so good. All I'm going to do now at this point is wrap this with plastic wrap and stick it somewhere to rise until about doubled in size. It'll take about an hour and a half or so. So that's all I'm going to do for now, and then I'm going to clean up and show you the next step. My dough has nicely risen in size. That is perfect. Let me get this out of here. I just have a floured surface, of course. You want to make sure you flour it a bit. You can see the butter and the shortening started to melt because it wasn't a warm spot rising for about an hour and a half. That is what you want. That's how you're going to get that really delicious buttery flavor that they are known for. I'm just going to cut this in half. Set one half aside. Make sure it's floured underneath, like so, and just knead it for a minute. So once you knead each piece, you want to roll it out to about a 12-inch circle. Now, it's kind of hard even for me to get it perfectly round. So what I do is once I roll it out to what I think is about 12 inches, maybe a little bit bigger, I just kind of go around the edges with a pizza cutter because you want to make this into a circle so you can cut out your crescent shapes really easily. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So that's good enough. And you want to get 12 out of each piece. So what I do is very much like you would cut a pizza. I go straight in the middle, and then across. And then out of each quarter, you want to get about, say, about three, crescent shapes. But, some are going to be bigger, some are going to be smaller. It does not matter. Like, that's mine right there. And no one can tell me different. And then when you roll them, all you do is just start from one side right here and just roll it up like so. And then you put it seam side down on a parchment lined baking sheet like so. Now, I will just warn you that when you start working with the dough after it's risen, it does feel very greasy and very sticky. And that's because there's all that butter and shortening in there that makes them so delicious. So don't panic, and you want to start adding a little bit of flour at a time, because what you don't want, you see the bottom is not floury. If the bottom of your dough is really floury, it's going to slide all over the table, and you're not going to be able to stretch the dough out to where it needs to be. And also, you don't want really heavy floury crescent rolls, because that defeats the purpose of them being light and buttery and like amazing. So I'm just going to continue to roll them. I have my oven preheated to 375. Once I have all of these rolled up, I'm going to pop them in there for about 15 to 18 minutes or so, or until they're like a golden brown color, and I'll show you what they look like when they're there. My crescent rolls literally just came out of the oven, and I'm just going to brush them with a little bit of melted butter. It makes them really shiny and extra delicious, extra yummy, extra buttery, which who doesn't want that? I mean, there's something to say about being pregnant and having hot, delicious, buttery croissants in front of you. Is there anything better? I think not. I'm just going to continue to brush them. You don't need to be super thorough, because look, as soon as you put it on, it kind of just melts in all the right nooks and crannies. I already have that first baking sheet done, and you can see, look at the first one that we did. It kind of soaks it up really, really quickly. Oh, they smell so good. They took about 20 minutes or so in the oven, so just keep an eye on them. And what I did was I put one tray at the very bottom of my oven and the other tray on the very top, and then halfway through rotated them for even baking and even coloring. You might want to do a better job than I did at evening them out, because you can see some are smaller than others, but who cares? They look so good. They're really hot though. Woo, they're hot. Oh, look at that. But man, are they good. Very hot, but that doesn't stop me at all, because they're soft, slightly sweet, buttery, and delicious. They're like everything a good crescent roll should be. Go to LauraInTheKitchen.com, get the written recipe. I know you will love these. Hope you enjoy spending time with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.